switching over to our panelists and our moderator, I'm going to introduce our candidates for Class 4, starting with Jim Ashworth. Second is Dan Bowles, and finally is Tony Crow. Brian Stover is also running, but he did not want to be here. So, we're going to start with opening statements. Mr. Bowles is going to go first, and here we go.
We're going to change this up just a little bit. We're going to let them come to the podium to do their opening statement.
Good evening, hey y'all. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank everybody for taking time out of your busy schedules to hear where we as candidates all stand on the issues. I want to say thanks especially to the party and Chattahoochee Tech for hosting us. I'm tough on leaders. I have high standards. I don't apologize for that, but I greatly appreciate the chance to stand up here in front of you as a Republican candidate for Post 4 and share what I believe is a positive vision for Paulding County's future. My wife Amanda and I, along with our 3 children, moved here, and we're proud to call Paulding County our home. We moved here about 5 years ago. Our oldest, Drew, is 13. He's in 7th grade at McClure. Our 2 youngest, Charlie is 10 and 4th grade at Shelton Elementary, and Lindsay is in 2nd grade. She's 8, also at Shelton Elementary. We're 100% a very typical, very busy Post 4 family, and like many who call Post 4 home, we chose to move here because we saw a growing community of like-minded families. We saw great homes at great prices. We saw low property taxes. We saw a lot of excitement around economic development and jobs growth in the area, particularly in the business and industrial community. But since we've moved here, it seems like nothing's really changed. And so, like many Post 4 residents, I began to ask some questions. I began to ask, why is this happening? Why is nothing changes but my taxes keep going up? We've seen increasing property values with little, if any, rollback. We've seen increasing property taxes. We've seen increasing school taxes. I know that's a Board of Education thing, not a Board of Commissioners thing, but when you top it off with the Board of Commissioner tax increase, it's a triple whammy, and it hurt. Meanwhile, the commercial and industrial property values remain flat, which means we're not really growing that area. Our sales tax revenue remains flat, which means we're not really growing in that area as well. That means it's all on the back of homeowners. 100% of the burden is pretty much on the backs of homeowners. And it seems to be getting worse. In 2014, the Department of Labor estimated that 74% of our population left the county to go work somewhere else. 2016, it was 80. 2018, to date, it's 86%. So I decided I wanted to do something about it after a few neighbors came to me and said, would you please run for office? I began researching Paulding County politics a few years ago to kind of get more involved and understand what's going on. And if I can I have 1 more minute? What I've discovered in the process has been sobering. It's been enlightening to say the least, but I've discovered that in Paulding County it's brother suing brother. It's Hatfield versus the McCoys. It's North versus South and old versus new. And I think that it's time that we put an end to that. I think it's time that we bury that hatchet. And instead of focusing on the past, I think we need to start focusing on a future where we together move Paulding County forward. I'm a pro-business conservative. I believe in common sense leadership. I believe in good stewardship, fiscal restraint, and a prosperous vision for our county. With your support, with your vote, I look forward to working with my Post 1, 2, and 3 colleagues, the chairman, our county's department heads, agencies, business owners, educational partners, as well as the state of Georgia to get things done and move Paulding forward. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Jim Ashworth, and I'm here tonight with my wife of 44 years, Janet. And I've lived in this community for 46 years, and I have 2 children, Stephanie Ashworth Brazil and son Spencer Ashworth. They graduated from Paulding County High School. I have 2 grandchildren, go to the schools up in the North Paulding School campus, Kennedy and McLean Ashworth. Family is something that I love so much and respect a strong family. And I'm a Baptist deacon and have been so for 29 years. Now, not personal, but my work experience is through 46 years of design, engineering, and construction business. I will serve as a president at one firm and executive vice president at 2 other firms. I'm currently chair of the Education Foundation here in the school, in the county, and I'm past chairman of the Paulding County Chamber of Commerce. Through the last 30 years or so, I've also had leadership positions in county organizations and civic groups. And in all these roles, I've made a difference in those organizations and made them successful. And that's what I want to bring to the Board of Commissioners, is that work ethic. So everyone asks me, why are you running? Why are you getting involved in politics? And, you know, it's the same old thing. You hear everybody gripe and complain, but then nobody goes out and votes. So I'm the kind of guy that I'm going to jump in knee deep, roll my sleeves up, and I'm going to take action and get things done. That's just the way it's been my whole life. And I want this community to grow and be successful. Now, the airport has really consumed our current board and has not left them much time to really work on new ordinances and strategic plans and policies to really help Paulding grow. We have a comprehensive plan that's mandated, and it was finished in 2016, and not the first initiative that was in that plan been put together, a strategic plan. And that's what I want to do, is I want to get those plans pulled together, and let's get this county moving forward. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Tony Crow. I'm Post 4 Commissioner at this time, and I'll tell you a little about myself. I've called Paulding home my whole life. My daughter, who's here with me tonight, she's called Paulding home her whole life here. My wife will soon be 49 years of marriage. Our marriage has been here in Paulding County. Our children went to school here. We have 4 grandchildren. We love them very much. As I look around the crowd tonight, I see a lot of lifelong Paulding people. And then I see a lot of people that have come here and shared our county with us and helped our county grow in a lot of ways. And for that, I'm truly grateful. We've heard a couple things here tonight where there's some negatives said about Paulding County and about our board. There's a lot of good things about our board. And there's a lot of good things, even better things about our county. My wife and myself can remember when we wanted a hamburger place to come to Paulding County, there wasn't one. And then Jack's Kitchen. That was the first hamburger place here other than Bond's, and but it was the first chain. And then we wanted a McDonald's. We've got a McDonald's. We've got 4 or 5 of them now. The county has grown, and it's grown for the better. As people come here, the county will continue to grow. I'm not going to get too much in the weeds with economic development and the lack thereof. I believe there's going to be some questions along those lines. I just wanted to introduce myself. I came out of high school. I was in Vietnam the first time. It was August of '65. I'm not a stranger to being shot at, so y'all just go ahead and do what you got to do. I wound up there 2 more times, total 27 months combat pay. I come back to this county, married Cindy from Hiram. That's when school was first through 12th there in Hiram. That's been a long time ago. But I love my county when I was away. I love it when I come back. I've seen a lot of guys cry and shed tears over the missing their wife, missing their brothers and sisters, their girlfriend. But the only thing I really ever missed was Paulding County. I missed it and look forward to coming back. I had no intentions at that time, didn't even think about politics. The first time I voted, I was 18, I was in the Gulf of Tonkin, I voted with absentee ballot, and I voted for Nixon. My dad had a fit about it. He was a dying-in-the-wool Democrat until he got ready to die, and he changed. And I'll tell you things about that later. I always said, if you get saved, you'll be a Republican now and then. But anyhow, I'm totally pro, and my motto is it's about people and not politics. I believe I made promises and I've kept every one of them. I haven't broken the promise to the people, nor will I. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go with panelist questions to begin with.
Well, gentlemen, good to be with you. So, in the previous debate, someone pointed out that most of you all, but Paul is a veteran community that needs to attract industry, and I can understand that if you know about, and you all do, about tax base, hard to support that on the back of home farms. So I'm going to ask you, what would be your role in the future in creating a climate to encourage business, industry, and bring jobs to Paulding County?
Thank you, Scott. When I went into office, the first school I went to was ACG school at the University of Georgia. There was 159 counties represented there. Every day we sat with a different group, and we went around the table. And the question was asked, what do you want to do when you take office? None of us had been sworn in at that time. And every day, the same answer. I want economic development and create jobs. Every day I heard this. And we changed tables every day. About the third day into this, I thought, where did this come from? During Obama's run for presidency, the economy was in the tank. And he said, I will create jobs and economic development. We all grabbed hold of that and run on the bank with it. My question as I was sitting at the table the third day was, all right, what do you, I don't know if you're a school teacher, I don't know what you do for a living, but would somebody at this table tell me what your plan is for economic development, for creating jobs? I've ran a business since 1973. I started that business simply to provide a living for my family, to feed them. But in doing so, I did a good job, and I've always said if you do a good job, money will follow. If you're doing your job for money, you'll never make it. But if you do it to do a good job, you're going to make money. And my company grew. I hired people. Some of them sent their kids to school on my money. They paid for the homes on my money, on their money they earned with me. She said stop. But nevertheless, infrastructure is what Paulding County is lacking, and I have had several meetings with people about working on infrastructure.
Thanks for the question. I think the real issue when it comes to economic development and getting the tax burden off of the back of the homeowner is there's things that businesses look for when they look at a county as a possible option for where they're going to locate their business. They look to see if there's roofs. In other words, are there people there? They look to see if there's a good education system in place. They look to see if there's green space and recreation for their employees to enjoy. They look to see if the infrastructure is in place. And one of the most important questions they ask is, can we trust the local government? I think we need to get back to establishing a pro-business attitude that businesses know they can trust our local government and make it open for business again. Once we do that, then it becomes, the next step becomes marketing the resources and the assets that we have here in Paulding County, which are quite a few, and doing our best to put our economic development team and our IBA in a position to succeed rather than fail. Thanks.
Well, that's true. Infrastructure is one of our main concerns in attracting businesses here, and we need to work on that issue. And the basic thing there we need is pipes in the ground. We have the reservoir for our water, and we have sewer, but we need to work on getting pipes in the ground and establish our infrastructure. From there, we need to get together with our commissioners and the local community and business leaders and put together an economic development plan that really works. We have enough infrastructure for data centers, retail, office buildings, and those type of facilities. So we can go out and court those and get those folks in here while it gives us time to get our infrastructure in better shape.
If you would, hold your applause. That way we don't have to get here all night, because I'm not getting paid to be here, so.
We're not getting paid. What one part of county government would receive more attention if you were elected?
I think the DOT department and getting roads up, we have our 92 program finally, after 30 years, we finally got a 92 highway program started, but it's only going to go to Kimberly Smith. It's not going to go on through the county. It's going to serve Cedar Crest out to US 41 in Cobb County. So the whole rest of the county is still going to be open space there for 92. If we work with DOT, we need to get a long-range plan. We need to work with the school district for future schools and areas so we can know where our needs are and put a long-range plan together. But I think the number one department would be the DOT to get that up and moving.
It's an interesting question. As a marketer by trade and a community builder for a little over a decade, I very much believe in making data-driven decisions. And I don't have all the data really to evaluate to give you an educated answer to that. I also feel like it's somewhat disingenuous to speculate one way or the other where I would spend my time in one specific area of county government. I feel like that's a fair thing to speculate on without that data. I do know that water and sewer, pipes in, pipes out, is absolutely one of the challenges we as a county are facing. The roads and DOT thing, I think we'll sort through that in time. I don't think it's as bad as it seems. There are definitely areas where it's rough, but I think we can overcome that pretty easily. Our law enforcement and first responders, I know that we have a tremendous shortfall there in pay and retirement. I'd like to see something happen there. But at the end of the day, I think really what we need to do is go above and beyond to be pro-business and open for business in this county. And that, part of that means simplifying the process and letting business owners, when they come here or when they choose to start a business, know exactly what they can expect from start to finish. So that they don't run into issues in the very last minute of the final inspection, like some of the other businesses in Post 4 have run into in the past few years.
I agree with a lot of what's been said here. The question was asked, if I'm not mistaken, is where will we focus our time and effort? Is that correct? Like I said, when I went into office, my slogan was it's about people and not politics. At my first town hall meeting, now when you go in, you're green and you have to figure this stuff out. I discovered that we have a church, one of the oldest churches in the county, that meets every Sunday, or when they have their meetings, they have no water. I couldn't believe that in 2016 or 17 that we had that kind of a problem. So I started working on that. There was no money put in place to extend water lines in the county at all. It took me about a year to get $500,000 a year set aside to extend water lines. We have a road out in our post that had no water. People had $300,000 homes, could not take a shower. They went out of the county to wash their clothes. I've got two roads, as we said, talking. One of them has water on it. They're waiting for the bacteria test to come back so they can put it in the houses. There's one thing that you cannot do without in your homes, and that's water. The rest of it you can. That's where my focus has been and where it will be is on the people of this county.
Good evening, gentlemen. I can empathize with you coming from Villa Rica with the challenges with water and sewer. My question for you this evening is, why are you running for commission? I know some of y'all have addressed that a little bit, so if you want to add to it, this is the time to do it. If you feel like you've spent enough time on that, the second part of the question is, and what qualifies you to run as a Republican? And I would just refine that to the sense of, what are those Republican principles that you bring to the table that you would apply to the job?
I can answer that either way, first, last, or whatever. What qualified me for being a post commissioner? Like I said, when I went in, I was green. I had to learn. And when it come time to seek re-election, I had to evaluate myself. I had to evaluate what we had started and what we finished. When I went into office, I made a promise that I would move the water reservoir along. 1 year and a little better after I was in office, we got the permit for the water reservoir. There's a lot of people who take credit for that. I'm not trying to take credit for myself. There's some of them in this audience that can certainly take credit for our water reservoir and getting it in place. I wanted to see, we had an E911 center that was stalemated because of the location it was at the time. There was a lawsuit involved. I took it upon myself to move that center to where it needed to be, which was the first choice of where it was supposed to have been from the beginning. And it's a state-of-the-art building, state-of-the-art employees. It's just so these things need to be continued. And as I was talking about before, the water in the county is a major deal to me. As far as being a Republican, I'm pro-gun, anti-abortion. I'm an extreme conservative to some degrees. Some people might say, well, you're just too conservative. I don't think in today's world you can have too much conservatism. I believe that we're morally bankrupt sometimes, and we need to get back and focus on what's right, which the Republican Party does.
It's a two-part question, so I'll take it in two separate parts. First, what qualifies me as a Republican to run for office? Well, first and foremost, I'm a taxpayer that lives in Paulding County, and I've been an active voter since I moved here a little over 5 years ago. I think, if I remember correct, that's all that it requires to be qualified. But I would add to that I've been a lifelong Republican. Ever since I've been registered to vote, I've been registered with the Republican Party. I'm proud of that. I'm an independent thinker. I think that's pretty well known in this room. But I'm a fiscal conservative. I'm a huge advocate for our Second Amendment rights, our First Amendment rights, really all of our Constitution and all of our Bill of Rights. And I very much believe that we fund the government, so we run the government. I think if you look at the campaign disclosures that were submitted recently, you'll quickly find that when it comes to fiscal conservancy, I'm probably the most fiscal conservative in the race. I'm proud of that. I'll stand on that until I go to the grave. What do I want to do and why am I running for this office? I want to make Paulding County a place where Georgia chooses to live, learn, work, and play. I think we have a lot of assets in this county that make Paulding County greater than some of our neighboring counties and other counties throughout the state of Georgia. We've got a lot of green space that's wonderful. We've got a lot of great schools. There's some work that needs to be done there. We talked about that earlier tonight. I'm proud to support and help our Board of Education do that. But I think we've got some work to do when it comes to the business and industrial community and economic development. And that's what I want to do. That's what I'm running.
Well, as a Republican for 30 years now, I think when the Democrats were in power, I was a Republican back years ago, but I'm a conservative and conservative family values type person. So, why am I running? Well, what can I bring, I guess, to this community? So I bring leadership. I bring pro-business attitude. Back when I was president of the chamber, where was pro-business was really brought in to help with our establishment of our economic development unit here in the county and work with that. And that's one thing that I really want to push is economic development for the county to get taxpayers to pay less taxes for businesses here.
Okay. Any of us know that, that whether you live in Westcott like I do or Paulding like you all do, there's been explosive growth in Paulding County. Good thing, hopefully. But with that explosive growth in the north, especially in the northeastern part of the county, there's, what I understand, been a moratorium on building permits. Is that a good thing? Was it needed? Why was it needed? Or was it not needed? And why would you try to change that?
Well, we put a moratorium, I think it's been a month now, 120 days on what we consider some type of a plan. I don't know that the county has really worked on a plan, they just postpone and inevitable and want to eventually work on it. But that's one of the things that I really want to push is to get a plan put together. We have developers and builders that they want to develop, and we need the infrastructure for them. We need sewer pipe in the ground. So what I want to see implemented is the impact fee for all the sewer connections and water connections so that we can get pipes in the ground. Our sewer system is adequate, or has the ability to expand for new development. I'm in favor for extending that development, but only when we get infrastructure to match the construction.
My understanding is the moratorium that was put in place initially started off as a 90-day moratorium. And we got to the end of that 90 days, and this is specifically regarding PRDs, if I understand it correctly, planned residential developments. Neighborhoods like Seven Hills, Bentwater, The Frog, any neighborhood that is a planned residential development with amenities and sidewalks and that sort of stuff falls under that category of PRD. There's a lot of history and background that goes in behind that, and it has a lot to do with years and years and years ago, a blanket R2 zoning that was put in place, and it's time to take a serious look at that and decide what to do with that. R2 is not adequate anymore. But once we got to the end of that 90-day moratorium, we still didn't have a plan, no action. We kicked the can down the road for another 120 days. So all in total, 7 months, we've told developers, you can't build. My fear in those moratoriums is if we continue to do that, we're going to end up running the developers out of the county, and we're going to be back in the boat of 2008 where we have empty lots all over the place and we can't sell them. And I think it's time to deal with that. Let's update our zoning. Let's look at what other counties around us have done. Gwinnett's a great example. Fulton's a great example. North Fulton specifically. Even Fayette County around Peachtree City is a great example. I think we can learn from them. And I think we can take some best practices and put them in place.
After the people in North Poland started notifying me that they would like to see a moratorium placed on builders until we could get the stipulations to where they need to be and not pull down the values of the homes that are already existing, that they would pull them down, and I seen the need. So as I looked at it, I thought, well, let's do a moratorium. Let's give ourselves a time. Let's give our planning and zoning time to put stipulations in place, to do some rezoning if we have to. Builders that have come to this county and left this county have left millionaires. And in the process, they've left us sometimes with a little less than what we wanted, what we really needed in the county. That you can continue building, nobody believe me. Building has not slowed down, nor will it slow down. This is simply to bring the builders up to par. Most of the builders that are building in this county, they don't live in this county. They don't pay taxes in this county. Of course, they buy and do business here, and we welcome that. But at the same time, it's my job to take care of the people that exist, that are here. And once again, I'm going to reiterate, to me, it's not anything wrong, except it's about people and not politics.
We all know that it takes money to run government. We need to be frugal, etc. The county will assess properties, put a tax on there to run the government. But also, they also take about 2% of the school board side because they're managing that as well. But in this day of computers and things like that, you would think since the county's already doing that maybe more money could go to the school system. Would y'all support, and why or why not, maybe taking that down to 1% instead of the current 2% to help the schools?
This year when it came budget time and tax time, we've heard a lot of people talk about the increase in taxes. I voted no to the tax increase. The school board was the first to raise the millage or keep the millage where the taxes would go up, then our appraisals of our homes, so you had 2 tax increases there. And I had signed a pledge when I went into office that I would not vote to raise the taxes, and I've kept that promise also. But anything that we can do to help our school system, I'll support it. I have grandchildren in school here now. Of course, my children went to school here, so yes, I will.
If I understand the question correctly, we're talking about reducing the 2% commitment.
So the local school system can have more money, because if you're talking about the amount of dollars that's being collected, 2% is a lot of money.
It is a lot. What I know about our school system is we're one of the largest school systems in the state of Georgia. I want to say 13th or 14th in the state. And when you look at our budget comparatively across the state, we're towards the bottom. So our Board of Education has a tremendous uphill battle to do more with a lot less than many other school systems throughout the state. I think it's important for the Board of Commissioners to support the school system, but at the same time, as a fiscal conservative, I have to ask a tough question of why is it that we have one of the higher millage rates when it comes to education, and we're doing more with less, but it doesn't seem to be impacting the school system in a positive way. And what is it that we as a commission need to do to strengthen that Board of Education and support that education and give them the authority they need to make decisions they need? I think, I understand that it's 2 completely separate boards, but I don't think that we need to continue to operate in silos. I think that there needs to be greater dialogue, and I think it'd be a helpful thing for the commission to sit down with key folks from each school, key folks from headquarters for the Paulding County School System, and a few stakeholders to ask the question, what is it that needs to be fixed? And what is it that we need to do as a commission, as a county, to use your tax dollars to better support the school system? I wouldn't immediately go and say that I'll promise to cut that to 1% without knowing more information. But if there's a way to do it, absolutely.
Being involved with the Education Foundation, I do is school district a lot, and I know there are shortfalls, but the county has shortfalls as well. It's a tough question, and I think, as you said, the board needs to work together, the school district board and the commission board, for planning purposes. But as far as fiscal responsibility, we need money now for infrastructure. And I'm not willing to sit here today and say I would give up that 1% to the school district.
Okay, now this is something recent that has come upon your county. With the passage of House Bill 930, the transportation bill, and Paulding being part of the 13 counties, how do you feel Paulding should move forward?
Well, I know it's mandatory, and we have a vote on what type of system to use. But I think there has to be transparency between the board and selling the splosh tax to the citizens, because if it doesn't pass, then it's mandatory. We got to come up with funds from somewhere, and so we would have to maybe look at a sales tax, or we'd have to come up with a bond, 30-year bond issue to help fund some things. But it's a tough thing to look at. It's going to take a lot of involvement between the board of commissioners and the citizens of this county.
It's no secret that Paulding County is growing, and it's growing rapidly. There's a list floating around right now that lists Paulding County as one of the top 100 growing communities in the United States, with the 8th largest population in Georgia. And I keep hearing this word mandatory get thrown around with this bill, and I don't understand why that word's being part of this conversation. I don't understand really how it's relevant to the Board of Commissioners at this point. It will be in the future, but it's not right now. This is a conversation that's happening at the state level with the Georgia legislators, and it involves bringing 13 Metro Atlanta communities together as a commission. And the only thing that's really, I think, as far as I'm understanding, that's required is Paulding County has a seat on that commission or that authority, whatever they end up deciding it to be. This will be something that the voters, as taxpayers, get to decide. This is not something that the Board of Commissioners gets to decide. This is something that the voters get to decide on. It'll be on a ballot at some point. It's an opt-in. It's not a mandatory hey, MARTA's not coming in our back door tomorrow. It's an opt-in. If we choose to opt in, and the voters will decide that, great. If we choose not to opt in and the voters decide that, great. I'll back that.
I understand it also at this time, it's not mandatory at this moment. It costs $1,125,000 to move 1 mile of that rail. It will be decided by the voters when it comes time. I'll probably be dead and gone before this takes place. I want you to know that. If we today said, okay, let's do a 1% sales tax in order to fund this, it would take 30 years to move it. At this time, what we're looking at, the closest thing that will come to us will be a bus system in Douglas County, maybe Austell. But we've concerned ourselves too quick about this, and what operates a lot of your constituents' thoughts and all this fear. But don't worry about this one. Like I said, this one will be decided by you when it gets time, and as a commissioner, we'll be the one that put it on the referendum when it gets time, because like I said, I'll be off the board by then. I'll probably going home to glory, so this is something that today we should not worry about, but we have people on that board that's going to look out for us, and when it comes time for this to come about, I'm sure we'll have commissioners on board that will be looking out for the best of the people.
So are there audience questions? Yes, there are. Got one more.
Okay, this question's from the audience. What symbolizes Paulding to you? I'm sorry, I can't read your handwriting. I see landmark, events, etc. Maybe it's word, landmark, event, etc. What symbolizes Paulding to you?
My understanding of what symbolizes Paulding to me. As I told you earlier, when I was overseas, there was a particular piece of property that I hunted, fished, and the land here itself has something to be said about it. Mr. Bowles mentioned earlier about our green space. To me, Paulding has something to offer just as a matter of green space. We're just outside Atlanta. We have a place here where they can come out here and enjoy the Silver Common Trail, but there's a lot of things that's symbol for the symbol of Paulding. To me, it's I think patriotism. John Paul. John Paul.
John Paulding, by the way, was the vice president of my political hero, James K. Polk. Get in, get it done, and get out. I think really what comes to mind when I think of what symbolizes Paulding County to me, I'm a big music buff. I love music, and there's 2 country songs that come to mind. Dixie Chick song, Wide Open Spaces, is one of them. And the other song, These Are My People, is the other one. But also, it's home. And if I close my eyes at night and I think of home, that's where I'm at.
Well, since I came to Paulding in 1971, it was a rural community there, and it's still rural in certain areas. And that's one thing I like about this community is if you want to go to the big cities, our way. Go do what you want to. But it's a rural community, and I want to see it stay somewhat a rural, small town atmosphere. And you can do that through smart growth and develop areas that along certain highway corridors, 92, 61, and keep the rural area like it is. And that's one of the biggest things I like it. That's why I continue to live here all the time.
Right before I ask this question, just know that we are a family who likes to come out and ride on the Silver Comet and try to leave some of our tax dollars at the QT and the gas station and another restaurant now and then. And that goes right into this question from the audience. How much of your family shopping for groceries and clothing does your family do in Paulding County, where it adds tax income to our county?
Okay, I think 99.95% of all of our expenditures in the county, I believe in shopping local. That's one thing that pushed in the chamber to shop local. Small businesses need the income, and so that's what I've always done and will continue to do. Even in my campaign, I've spent all my dollars here in this county. I've not spent one dime out of this county on any election materials.
That was a challenging one for me because I live in the Cedar Crest corridor, and the reality is you can turn left and be at Publix in 2 minutes, or you can turn right and be at Publix in 7, 8 minutes. So it becomes a proximity thing. It becomes a convenience thing. That said, I'm glad to be drinking Kroger water tonight because my wife is a pharmacist for Kroger, and because of that, we shop at Kroger. So we actually drive even farther to the Crossroads Kroger and do the majority of our shopping there. Now, she does work at the Marsville Kroger in Ackworth in Cobb County, so occasionally she picks up some milk or some bread or some beer or whatever, and you know, it's a shame that that's going to Cobb County instead of Paulding. But I think if you ask business owners throughout Paulding County, they will tell you that Dan's not a man of many words when it comes to lip service and supporting local. He actually does it. That's why I've got so many business owners in Post 4 that are behind my campaign.
I actually met you on Silver Common Trail the first time I met you in Rockland. You and your brother. I look different without my slick breeches, don't I? But nevertheless, I'll say we just about spend 100% of our dollars, not only in the county, but within New Hope in that area. My wife and I go, of course, to Hiram to do our shopping. But I don't remember the last time, other than passing through Cobb or Fulton or whatever county, to stop and maybe to get a bite to eat. But I make sure that my money stays in the county, and I'm like Jim, I bought my signs in the county, and I trade with them. I could have got them a little cheaper, but I didn't. I chose to do business here in the county. This morning, in fact, I was at Rodney's eating breakfast, and Rodney thanked me for doing business with him. And I eat breakfast there, either at the Waffle House on a regular basis or Jones Restaurant. You'll see me in those places pretty often. So I know I'm looking forward to seeing my opponents here in those places also.
So is there one more question or two? What do we have time?
I think let's take an airport question.
Okay. So we knew that was coming.
There it is.
All right. So, gentlemen,
Last question.
I'm very close to being a 2 million miler on Delta, which means I spend a lot of time between West Cobb and South Fulton. But I love Paulding County. We love to come here. So come the trail. It's got great amenities, and so I think there are good people on both sides of this issue. But I want to know where you are. Should Paulding County, your airport, be open to commercial passenger service, or not?
No. There's no secret where I stand on this issue, and there's no secret why I stand where I stand. I know the history of the airport. I know it from 1975 to 1999. I told you earlier I was a veteran, and I've been part of carrying some bodies out for people to give their lives for our vote. I will not disrespect it. When you vote, and you did it 2 times in this county, when you vote, and you put me in this seat, there's no gray area here. It's black and white for me. The airport, I feel like was conceived, the commercialization of it was conceived in a way that it shouldn't have been. It's been taken and run away with, and it has consumed our county. It's divided the people of the county that I love, that I know the history on, that I've lived here and lived through it. When I was elected, that was part of my platform, that I would stand against commercialization of that airport, and I will continue to do so. If you don't believe that, look around. There's a big old billboard just down the road with my name on it. But nevertheless, I don't make no mistakes about where I stand on commercialization until it's brought out front, done properly, presented to the people, and they buy it. I will not support it.
secret where I stand on this one either. I am not opposed whatsoever to commercialization, but nothing is off the table either. I don't agree that things were done in secret. I also don't agree that things were necessarily done the way I would have done them. I wasn't on the commission at the time when they were done. You know, I see at least one of our former chairmen in the audience tonight. This is the polarizing issue of our county right now.
You're a dumbass.
And we've got to find a way to move forward together. I think there's a way to do that. I think it starts with dropping the lawsuit. I think it starts with moving and working hard to rescind Resolution 1501, which breached the contract and put the bond in the first place. I think it takes knowing that our commitment to that airport was $1 million over a 10-year period of time to begin with, and now we've spent over $2.5 million on lawsuits and bond payments. And I think it takes sitting down with whoever it takes, Propeller, the FAA, Delta, whoever else needs to be sitting at that table, but to sit down and have a serious conversation about what do we do as leaders to come together and fix this so that it's profitable for Paulding County. If it's general aviation and it's profitable, great. If it's commercial and it's profitable, great. One way or another, we need to make it profitable. Right now, it's a money pit. And I'm going to quote Post 2 Commissioner Todd Colonel. Something he said Tuesday night really sounded out to me, and I actually, believe it or not, Todd, I agreed with him. Todd said, I do not like anybody else trying to decide what goes on inside our county.
Amen.
Now, he was talking about House Bill 930, and I'm talking about the airport, apples and oranges, but they're both fruit. I think the greatest defense we have against the potential of Atlanta building a commercial airport on that 10,000 acres is to have our own teeny tiny little airport. And if it's commercial, it'll definitely stop it. If it's general aviation and it's healthy and it's profitable, there are other things we can do because the right of first refusal on that property is coming up soon. But we need to get ahead of that because right now that's the real issue. And I think the airport conversation is more of a distraction than anything else. But I'm willing to stand in the middle of that and take the heat to do what's right for Paulding County as a leader. I'm willing to get Propeller to come to the table and compromise with us. I think that we need to come to the table and compromise some as well. But, you know, I am not opposed to commercialization. Thank you.
Learn the facts.
Well, I'm strictly against commercial aviation coming to Paulding. I believe general aviation as it originally was planned to have business pods developed around it and use it as an economic tool to bring businesses into the county. And so I'm completely against the commercialization there.
Sometimes when we talk about things we really don't know about, I want you to know I can't go into detail. I have signed an agreement to secrecy as board of commissioners. We have been to mitigation. We're willing to go back to mitigation. We're too far away from what they're wanting, what we're willing to give. But there's nobody on the board today that opposes the commercialization of that airport. We're 100% behind. I'm sorry, general aviation, no commercial. I apologize for saying that. That was a slip of the tongue, by the way. But we have gone to mitigation. We are willing to work. And before, in fact, when we were willing to go, they wanted to back out. But because we were going to go and they were not going to go, they said, we better go because these people are trying to do something and work, even though we've been paying this. These guys are not willing to work with us. When we get there, it was absolutely ridiculous, the difference in what they wanted. And the final say-so there is they want this election cycle to go by. They're hoping to change the board to have their way. Everything based now, right now, we can't do it until after May the 22nd. My mind is not going to change between now and May the 22nd. Somebody else's mind, but mine's not. So it's not that we're not trying to work with them. It's simply they will not be reasonable with us, and let's move this thing forward.
know, we spent a lot of money on attorneys and lawyers' fees at the airport, and our current bond, if I'm not mistaken, is somewhere around 1.6 million left that Propeller is not paying. We're spending millions of dollars on attorney's fees, and what I would like to do is withdraw the 139 and send Mr. Propeller back to New Jersey. Lawsuits put behind us and get this county moving forward. General aviation is the way to go, and that's what I stand for.
Well, we say the best for last, didn't we? Good stuff. Let's give them a hand. Good answers. You may agree or disagree, but these guys are up here to put themselves out there. Their families are involved in this because you all serve. Whoever you love the most is going to be right there with you. So we're going to have closing statements, 1 minute each, from the table, because from the camera standpoint, it's better that way. So I think we drew beforehand, and who was the lucky or unlucky number one?
I'll go first. Okay, first, okay. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you so much to the Republican Party. They have went over and above to provide this for us here at Chattanooga State. Thank Chattanooga State for permitting us to be here. Nancy Hollished works hard on this, and she takes this stuff out. It takes a lot of courage to walk up here, not knowing what you're walking into sometimes. And I want to say kudos to these two guys here for having the courage to come and sit and listen and answer questions. There's a little plaque on my dentist wall that says, "We cater to cowards." What I read when I read that sign is, you know, if you come here and you're afraid, you're not a coward, you're courageous. And I appreciate these two men for coming, taking part. I appreciate them throwing their hat in the arena. Hope to see you May the 22nd, start voting April the 30th, and I look forward to serving this county another term.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Republican Party for putting on the event. I'd like to thank the panel for sharing their time to come out tonight as well as the moderator. I really appreciate you for doing that. And as you've heard tonight, there's a lot of issues facing the county, and we've all offered up some suggestions for resolving them. But I'd like to put my resume and leadership skill out in front of the table here and say that we need a proactive, pro-business commissioner willing to roll their sleeves up and go to work for this county and to get us moving forward again. When I'm elected, you will see unity, progress, and results from the BOC, and you'll see positive, smart growth in our county.
I want to invite everybody here to visit my website, electdanbowles.com. You can learn a lot more about my campaign than you probably learned here tonight. I'm going to put some documents up on my website. I've got a flash drive. I've been accused many times of not knowing the facts, but I do. I know the facts. I've gone to courthouses. I've gotten the documents. I've read through them ad nauseum. It'll put you to sleep, but it's important information that you need to know if you're going to run for office. I believe that we as a county, we can work together to become the place where Georgia chooses to live, learn, work, and play. This can be done. We can balance growth and green space together. We can attract good paying suitable jobs for high school, vocational school, and college graduates, as well as skilled trades. Together, we can eliminate outside interests from meddling, manipulating, and controlling our government. Together, we can build bridges between the educational community and the business and industrial community here in Paulding County together to develop our workforce and create job-ready programs. We can leave the unsustainable bedroom community reputation in the past together. We can leave our reputation as the county that's suing itself in the past together. There's a lot we can do if we just do it together. I'm a pro-business conservative. I've told you what I believe in. I've told you who I am. I'm asking for your vote. One of the other things I want to address tonight is I've been challenged in a lot of ways about where I stand on Paulding County versus Post 4. If I'm elected to serve the taxpayers the constituents of Post 4. I'll work with Post 1, 2, and 3 colleagues to do what's right and good for Paulding County. But I'm there to serve Post 4 and nobody else. Not the City of Atlanta, not Delta, not Roy Sparks, nobody else.
Boy, Sparks.
So that's where I stand on it. Thank you.
Sorry. Notice he didn't thank anybody for hosting this.
Outside things. The reference here is Delta. Can I tell y'all this from my heart? My family knows me. I've had my computers taken. I've had my phones taken. They've looked me upside down. I've had my statements from my cell phone. Had to go get them for them. There's no connection here to Delta. I have never talked to Delta. The only thing I've ever did for Delta is fly on their airline. That's been a long time ago. I haven't flew in several years. There's always an implication here that Delta is behind everything, outside interest. That's not so. When you are, if you ever get the privilege of sitting in this seat, you're going to find out there's a whole lot of things that you don't know. But I promise you, there's one thing, I will represent you. I understand the demographics of Post 4, from Mount Olivet, all the way to Cedar Crest. And there's a difference from here to here, but they're all the same thing when it comes time to say something. They're your constituents, they're the people who put you there, and you need to honor that. And it's been a great honor, and I mean that. It's an humbling experience when you're elected to office. But my job has been and always will be to represent the people of Paulding County.
Kudos. We all, I think we're on the same agreement there. I'm my own man. I stand up for myself, and I don't let any special interest or anybody influence me unless they have a better mousetrap than I do. And of course, I'll be glad to look at that and maybe do that. But I look for you to vote for me. We want to move this county forward. We want to get more businesses here. And so that's all I got to say is go out to vote on early vote on the 30th of the month, and May 22nd is general primary election.
Thank you all for being here. I'm glad everyone was able to make it. These debates, they are a labor of love because that's what the Republican Party does. Our job is to present our candidates. And the best way we can present our candidates is to put them on a debate stage. That's the only way we can do it equally. I've taken a lot of heat this week on a lot of things, but I will tell you one thing. I don't say it quietly when you attack my party. I won't say it quietly. You can attack me, but you cannot attack my party. These are good people. These are strong Republicans that actually go door to door. I have walked, and I know these guys have walked in the rain, in the heat, and in the cold to get their people elected. We go to conventions, we pay our money, we go to meetings. And I mean, we all vote Republican, and voting Republican, I'm glad you are. But to say to my grassroots people that they don't have a voice or they're trying to select somebody, that is not true. But we do everything we can. We told everyone, we were 5 people there most of the time this week qualifying. So anyway, that's enough of that. But I just wanted to thank these people. I mean, Scott came. Scott works all the time like everybody else. He flies away. I just want to thank Scott so much for coming out tonight and asking questions. I think Fred Kettle's on every board in Bartow County, so he's always done. He's got, what, 6 kids? 6 kids. He said, don't give me 7. He's got 6 kids. I think Leslie, she came in at the last minute to do this, so I want to thank her for coming in. Just want to thank the panel so much. Finally, but not least, is my new hero, Louis Hunter. This guy has been here for 2 nights. He works, he has a business, and he has come, and I think he's done a great job as moderator. I don't y'all? Y'all go out and vote, go work for your candidates. That's what it's all about. So have a good night and God bless.